get canceled due to COVID-19? Yeah, mine too. That's why in today's video, we're going to talk about how you can explore your region, your hometown, your city. Everyone has different restrictions still. So I'm going to be talking about how you can have not just a staycation, but some ways that you can have fun and actually explore areas in your region. And of course, try to explore areas that aren't gonna have a lot of people there. Try to keep your social distancing still. Not only is it important to travel locally to keep the spread down of coronavirus, but it is also important to travel locally because it is a more sustainable option to travel. I hope you enjoyed my cheesy introduction to this video. So before we get into this, I just want to mention that I come from a very small town and now I live on an island. I try to brainstorm for all different types of areas like rural areas, island life, city life, all sorts of stuff. If you have any more ideas about how to be a tourist in your hometown, please leave them down below for the rest of us. So I was inspired by this video for a couple reasons. One, we are trapped on this island for the next 2 months. I wanted to brainstorm ideas for me to not feel so cooped up, and then I wanted to share them with you guys as well. Plus, we just went to an empty beach this last week and we flew the drone and I didn't want this footage to go to waste. So here is that beautiful drone footage. I hope you enjoy. So like you see here, we just found an empty, unnamed beach. We found this one just by driving on some random roads one day and taking random paths, and eventually found this beach. And as you can see, it's empty, perfect for social distancing because who knows how long the situation might last. Beaches are great for so many activities: sunbathing, photography, videography, taking your dog, picking up trash, whatever you want to do at the beach. You can also just simply take a drive. You never know what you might find. I used to do this all the time when I lived in rural Ohio. I would simply just get in my car and go for a drive every now and then. When I lived in Texas, it was again the middle of nowhere, so I would just go for drives. Something else I've been trying to do, kind of like the intro to this video, is give myself a challenge, whether that's photography, videography, or drawing even. Go out for a drive and wait for something to catch your eye, and if you're a photographer, get out and try to take a cool photo of that area. If you're an artist, bring your stuff with you and try to paint or draw that thing. I think that can be a really fun idea if you're more creative. If you're not too much into creating art, you can plan a scavenger hunt for your area. This can even be a photography scavenger hunt, or it could be something as simple as finding different landmarks. You can plan the scavenger hunt however you'd like. Another great way to be a tourist in your area is to get on Facebook for people who have lived in that area longer than you have and ask them about their favorite places, whether that's favorite beaches, favorite buildings. Just ask people what their favorite things are and maybe go out and try to find them all. I think part of the fun when it comes to traveling too is planning. So when you're being a tourist in your hometown, be sure to actually plan your trip. It can be something as simple as wake up at this time, leave by this time, or you can be super in-depth and make yourself an actual in-depth itinerary. Of course, during this time, be sure to avoid all of the crowded areas, but this can still be a really fun thing to do. If you're lucky to live in an area that's very well known for its hiking and adventurous type stuff, try to find a new hiking trail that you've never done before, or another outdoor activity like paddleboarding, rollerblading, or other things like that. This one can be a little cheesy, but it can also be a lot of fun, and that is to just simply act like a tourist. Don't act like you live there. If you have to, put on your cheesy sunglasses and your fanny pack and get out there and take photos of everything. Act like you would if you were traveling to a new place. You can even do something as simple as go on a walk or a bike ride in a new area of town. You never know what you might find. You might find a new shop you want to check out when everything reopens. It's just a great chance to take in more scenery and get to see more of your town. And if your shops are still closed, you can still go window shopping. You can drive down to the shopping district if that's what you're into, and then you can even write down the names of shops and restaurants that you'd like to check out when everything reopens again. If this does last until summer and you have to have a true staycation, you can go sunbathing anywhere. You can simply sunbathe on your balcony or your roof. You can go to an empty beach, you can go to an empty park, and you can sunbathe there. If you're feeling a little more adventurous and a little more like you need a true vacation, you can rent an Airbnb in your area. And Airbnbs are great because you can do that while still social distancing. Again, I really hope this doesn't last that long. Airbnb is the way to go while still being able to enjoy your trip. This can help you get a new perspective on your city and actually give you a chance to have a vacation in your area versus just living in your area. You can give yourself a historical tour for free. You can simply just look up the history of your town and write down all of the historical sites and go out and see them for yourself. This one is a little more fun if you're not from rural Ohio, but you can find the highest point in your city or your region. For me, I wouldn't necessarily go find the highest point on Kadena Air Base. I would go find the highest point on the whole island. You can find your city's tourism board's website and see what they recommend for tourists in your area, and you can go hit some of those as well. Of course, some of them might not be open during this time, but once everything reopens, be sure to check those out. And once things do open up again, Try new places, try new restaurants, new shops. You never know what you might find. You might find your new favorite restaurant, and of course, this is a great opportunity to support small businesses, especially after such a tragic time. And another simple thing that you can do to feel like a tourist in your area is to plan a picnic and take it to one of those empty beaches or empty parks and just enjoy time outside. And of course, you can always bring a book, you can bring music, you can bring games, and just make an entire day out of it. So that's all the tips I have for being a tourist in your own area. Like I said earlier, be sure to leave yours down below because I'm sure I missed some. These are only just a few. But now let's talk about why we should be a tourist in our own area. So I kind of mentioned this in my over tourism video that it is important to avoid over touristy areas, but it's also important to travel as locally as possible. Avoiding planes is best when possible. I'm not saying to avoid flying, I still fly, but if you can just take a bus, a train, but even just driving around is a lot more sustainable than taking an airplane. So of course, traveling locally has a much less impact on the environment than it would be if you were to travel halfway across the world. An advantage for you is that it is a lot cheaper and easier to plan. It is a lot easier to plan because you're familiar with that area. You might have to do a little bit of research to be able to, go to those more unique places you've never been to, but it's also a lot cheaper. You're simply just driving, and you're only driving for maybe a couple hours at the most. It's not an extensive road trip, especially during these times. If museums and aquariums and things like that are closed, you're probably going to be doing a lot of free things. Another reason why we should do this is it gives us a new perspective and a new appreciation for our hometowns. It kind of opens your eyes more. I sit here and I think, why in the world would someone travel to this island? Like, yeah, it's pretty, but there's a lot more prettier places. So I think when you actually get out and you see the beauty that your area has to offer, you realize that's why people come here. People do really appreciate my city, and I think I should appreciate it too. If you decide to go the historical route, you can learn more about your city's history, how your city was formed, how your city was built, the people who did that, and that can also help give you more appreciation for your city. Another great reason to be a tourist in your hometown is because you might meet new people, you might find your new favorite restaurant, your new favorite shop. I guess this kind of goes along the lines of it opens your eyes to new things in your city, because if you just go to the same restaurants every week, if you just go to work and go home every week, it can get boring. It can feel like you're trapped even before isolation. So getting out there and trying new things can really help you feel not so trapped, and it might help you like your city a little bit more. And of course, being a tourist in your hometown will help keep you from being so bored and cooped up. Even during these times of isolation, you can still social distance from a beach with no people on it. You can still social distance just going on a simple road trip to the other side of your town. Something as simple as that. During these times, of course, avoid crowded areas. Please practice social distancing. And then once all this is over, this will still help you keep from being so bored in your area. I hated living in a small town. I was always bored. I always felt like I had nothing to do. So being able to even simply just go for a drive helped me to feel like I was less inside this little bubble and that the world was a lot bigger than it seemed. And I get that a lot here too on this island. This island is so small. It's only 1/3 the size of Rhode Island. We can't even take boats right now. Going to the beach once a week really helps me to feel less cooped up. That's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed this topic. This was a little spontaneous for me. I was bored. I wanted to challenge myself with this intro. I hope it went well. If it didn't, then this is embarrassing. I also just wanted to shed some light on this, that yes, it certainly is privileged to be able to go on vacation, but it is okay to feel sad because you can't go on your trips. This was a big travel year for us. We had a lot planned. This is our last full year in Japan. We've already missed out on one travel opportunity, probably a second one. We're supposed to go somewhere end of May. We're supposed to go somewhere in June. We're supposed to go somewhere in July. We're supposed to go to the Olympics. I'm very sad about that. I just wanted to let you know that it's okay to feel sad that you can't go on your trips. I know there are other things to feel sad about, of course. Any level of sadness during this time is justifiable. There's no reason for someone to put you down because you feel sad that you can't go on your vacation. Yeah, there are more important things, but it's okay to be sad. I hope this video was some encouragement that you can still get out of the house, you can still have fun while social distancing. You just have to put a little bit of thought and creativity into it. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like. If you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe. Let us know down below what other ways that you think you can be a tourist in your hometown. If you want to see more from me, don't forget to check out my Instagram and my blog. They'll be linked down below. And until next time, remember that these small changes you make have a big impact in the long run. Bye guys.